Our final presenter today is Dr. Brooke Harris-Reeves. And Brooke is the Program Director for the Bachelor of Sports Development Program in the School of Allied Health Sciences at Griffith. Brooke's innovative approaches to teaching and learning are evidenced through her commitment to developing a career-ready culture that raises student awareness of career options and direction and enables students to develop a sense of professional identity and connectedness to industry. Brooke's title today of her presentation is Development of Employability Skills Across the Student Life Cycle Using Authentic Assessment Approaches. Please make Brooke welcome.
Thanks everybody. Is that sound working? Yeah, okay. First of all, I'd like to thank my colleagues at Learning Futures for the opportunity to share my work today, and thank my colleagues who have already presented. I always really enjoy the opportunity to hear about the innovative learning and teaching approaches that my colleagues are using, and I always walk away so passionate and try and use ideas and transfer them into my context. So hopefully you guys can grab something from what I share today. So as Lou said, what I'm going to be talking about today is the development of employability skills across the life cycle using authentic assessment approaches. So I think what's important before I move forward and talk about the assessment is to give a little bit of context around the program that I'm Program Director in. Bachelor of Sport Development, I'm guessing a lot of you in this room may not have heard about this new program. It's actually new in 2015, so we've got our first cohort of students just coming towards the end of their first year. Sport development is quite a large profession in the UK, and every second university in the UK has a Bachelor of Sport Development or postgraduate sport development studies. We're really lucky at Griffith University. We're actually one of only 2 programs in Australia, the other being at Deakin University. And sport development is a new and emerging profession here in Australia, so it's a very exciting time, especially with the Commonwealth Games in the near future. So I just want to share a little bit of information about what it's about. Basically, it's about attracting, retaining and nurturing sport participants in the community. So this is achieved through planning and developing targeted programs that are delivered and managed in a variety of sporting contexts. When anyone asks me, so what is sport development about, I basically break it down and say, well, there's sort of 2 arms with sport development. It's either athlete development, so working with athletes at grassroots through to elite athletes, you know, working through to athletes going through the Olympic Games and stuff like that. So there's the elite athlete component, and there's also the community development arm of it, which is working with people in the community to become active and healthy. There's no secret there's a huge obesity epidemic, so the sport development profession is basically the umbrella where all these different types of roles fit under. So what are the career opportunities of our graduates once they've completed the Bachelor of Sport Development? It ranges, as I said, that sport development's an umbrella. It goes through from professional coaching official through to event manager, health promotion, facility manager, sponsorship manager, physical activity programs coordinator. So there's a huge range, and I'm really fortunate to be the program director of the only program that's actually housed in Griffith University, where we draw from courses from all of the groups. So our program has courses from business, the majority are from health, from AEL, and we've also got a couple of electives from sciences. So that's a challenge in itself. So there's only actually 2 courses that are brand new, despite the fact that this is a new program. So when I'm talking through the process that I've gone through to embed the employability framework into my program, please don't sit back and go, oh, well, it's a new program. How easy is that? I'd like to preface it by saying a lot of these courses are existing courses that are in the program. So what I've done is, because it wasn't a big enough job as it was to start a new program this year, I thought This time last year, I was at the Employability Symposium, and I walked away with from that symposium. I grabbed Nick Byers and I got in his ear, and I'm so excited. Not only am I going to roll out this new program, I'm going to embed the employability framework throughout it, and I had the biggest sort of spring in my step after that. So what I've done is I've recognised the importance of the different stages of the student life cycle, and use the employability framework to guide the development of an integrated approach throughout the program. So given that sport development is a brand new profession and a lot of people don't know what it's about, and it's a brand new program, it's really important, I thought, for our first lot of students to come through, and for all of our students, to develop a sense of professional identity right from the word go. So they know where they're going, they know what type of jobs they're going to get. So this is a mapping exercise that I've recently done, and I'm going to break down each of the stages. That bottom third there, that's actually in green, and the colours reflect the different stages of the student life cycle. You'll note that the red stage at the top, the transition stage, is very short. Now, there is no hard and fast. Year 1 is transition in, year 2 is transition through, year 3 is transition out. It is completely reflective on the degree or the amount of employability skills that the students have developed. So I'm going to unpack these. So basically, transitioning in happens in semester 1, year 1. Transition through happens all the way through to 3rd year, and then we work on transitioning out. So I'd like to unpack that now. So that's how the whole program looks as a whole. So transition in, this was first semester last year, this year. So on top of a new program, this was actually a brand new course as well that I had to develop. And that was kind of good in a sense, because I had to put all the curriculum together, and I thought, well, I'm going to just design the assessment around the employability and get these guys really thinking about what it's about. So the key objectives of this stage for me were, I really wanted the students to understand what employability is. And I don't know about you guys, I'm hoping there's someone in the room. Every time I type employability, I was in a committee meeting the other day with Nick Byers and a few of my colleagues. I said, where does it go? Even Word underlines employability in red. Like, you know, it's not a word that's well known. So I'm hoping my presentation sort of shares a bit of light on it. So my objective was for students to understand employability, lay the foundations of a career development plan, commence building an e-portfolio, and understand strategies to increase employability. So the course in semester 1, 1212 AHS, the assessment was designed to foster a sense of clear career direction. As I said, it's a new profession. Okay, so it's not well known. So a career direction is really important, because I didn't want these kids going, oh, I'm out of here. So retention is really important in a new program. Professional identity and connectedness in and across courses throughout the program. I spoke to Nick Byers, the Dean of Learning, Teaching and Health, at length about this. I was really concerned initially, because there are so many courses from different groups across the university. I was saying to him, how are these students going to make the connection? Because they're going to go over and sit in 600 people lecture theatres over in business, and they're going to be in lecture theatres with lectures that aren't necessarily going to provide sport development examples. How are these kids going to make the connections? So the assessment that I've developed in semester 1 is about enabling them to make the connections. So what I got them to do is a career plan. What they had to do is they had to get online, and they had to source or find 2 sport development jobs. Now, as I said, the sport development umbrella is fairly broad, okay? So they had to get on Career One on any site. So that in itself is developing their skills of job searching. They had to find 2 jobs in sport development. Then they had to identify from those job advertisements the essential, the desirable, and any additional skills that they thought that might make them more employable within that job context. that I provided the students with. Apologies for that. So the template was provided to them. They had to state the essential skills from the job advertisement, the desirable skills, and then any additional skills. From here, they had to work across and identify whether they currently held that skill or hold the skill, whether they're going to obtain that skill or skills or attributes from the Bachelor of Sport Development, and I provided them with a PDF with all of the learning objectives from each of the course profiles from the courses throughout the program. So they had to go through and actually identify, as you can see here, they've actually identified course codes of where they will be gaining those skills, and then whether or not they're going to obtain it from extracurricular activity outside the four walls of the university. So what I put a big emphasis on with these first year, first semester students was, please don't just sit in these four walls for the next 3 years, okay, and then go to graduation and then walk out and expect to get a job. What's going to make you more employable is, while you're sitting inside these four walls, do some extracurricular activities that are going to build your skills. So the whole idea of this assessment was to get them to understand the extracurricular skills that they need to do. From that, I got them to build a timeline. So they had to move the extracurricular skills over into a 3-year timeline where they'd achieve certain goals along that timeline. So that's the career plan that I did. So they had to use the extracurricular column to develop goals to achieve over the next 3 years. They also had to do an e-portfolio, which I won't actually share the examples of the e-portfolio because my colleague Andrew's already done a wonderful job of that. But they had to do the About Me section, and they had to develop a CV, which I gave them a template to do. So that was the transition in. As you can see, there was a fair bit of career development, understanding of employability and that sort of thing that happened in the transition in. I've just been told I'm at the 10-minute mark, so I'll keep moving forward. The transition through goes for 18 months. So it's about clarifying sense of purpose and connection, building positive professional graduate identity, and also actively engaging in the profession. So this semester, they had to develop a letter, a work placement letter. Basically what they had to do was write a letter as if they were going to apply for a job, and they had to go out and seek their own work placement for 10 hours of observation. Once they were out on that observation, they had to do an informational interview with their mentor, which enabled them to get a sense of understanding of what the profession is all about. From that, they had to then go on and develop a poster, and this link on desk, in which they reflected on the information they got from the interview, but also reflect on their observations they conducted throughout. So that's the beginning of the transition through. Also, throughout the second year, we've got public health research methods, we've got physical activity promotion, in which they're going to be reflecting on the research skills that they develop and reflect on how that's relevant to the sport development profession, and add it to their e-portfolio. So it's building on the e-portfolio throughout the progression of the program. Same thing in semester 2, and there's also the opportunity to complete an international internship through the community internship program. Then transitioning out in third year. I won't talk about first semester, I'm just going to jump straight to the capstone course. In the capstone course, the students will be required to do things like to finalise their CV, complete a mock job application in which they will be staged job interviews, and they also, we're going to be looking at doing an entrepreneurship where they're going to develop an innovative sport development business plan and then do a 3-minute elevator pitch around that innovation. So before I finish up, I just want to share a little bit of feedback that I've received from the students. This was at the end of semester 1. So this feedback has really been very empowering for myself, because at the end of the day, I'm there to make sure these students are highly employable. So the approach the sport development class has taken is really good and enjoyable. I'm a second year uni student and there's nothing like this in my previous degree. It got us really thinking about our future and what we need to do in order to achieve our overall career goals. It gives us as students the knowledge about why each course is relevant for our future careers in the sporting industry. I think that it's a really good approach as it's setting us up for our future and it's helping us plan or see how our careers may look. I think it will help me in the future because it's already planned out. It's right there in front of me. I just have to follow my plan and try to reach my goals. It has made me think about what I need to do to improve my employability, and it's also helped me in deciding a particular pathway I wish to pursue. It's put things into focus and made the pathway a lot clearer. I think that this assessment is a good one for first semester of first year, especially for students straight out of high school. It gets us to research and think about what opportunities are out there for us at the completion of our degree. And lastly, this task that we are doing is excellent. It gives me a clear and concise idea of where I'll be in the future, and it really motivates me to achieve my future goals over the upcoming 3 years. That in itself is exactly why I have implemented this employability framework, because they're making the connection between what they're doing in our classrooms and how it's relevant for their future employment. Thanks very much.
Brooke, thank you so much. It's obviously the feedback speaks volumes, and it's wonderful to see a program level design, because we see course embedding of strategies in coursework, but it's wonderful to see a whole program level design that not only develops that career direction for the students, but it also enables them to develop their professional identity and gives them that sense of purpose, and that's what we're all about. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.